I either feel you or I don't. I cannot and I won't try to force love. I ain't in no rush. I either feel you or I don't. I cannot and I won't try to force love. I ain't in no rush. You could be Mr. Right at this point in my life. I will not sacrifice if we don't vibe. It's not rocket science, it's chemistry. You gotta match my energy. I won't let loneliness, no, have me tolerate disrespect. I won't let loneliness, no, force me to a life of regret. Yeah, I either feel you or I don't. I cannot and I won't try to force love. I ain't in no rush. I either feel you or I don't. I cannot and I won't try to force love. I ain't in no rush.
Hey y'all, happy Thursday. It's Christina, and you are joining us for the Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast. It's actually part 5 of the podcast. I'm a little surprised because a month ago, if you would have asked me, we would not be on part 5. We would still be talking about the podcast, but I'm really glad that we were able to go ahead and kick this off. I've enjoyed spending Thursday nights with y'all, talking about being plus size and dating. For the last few weeks, we've had Simone Mariposa, Hayes, we've had Raven, and we've had a really good time talking through some of your questions and some of the questions that we've had for Hayes, getting the male perspective on dating, and just having just transparent communication about dating from a woman and man's perspective. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. You know, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, hit the share button. If you've been enjoying the conversation, hit the like button. Let us know. Drop us a thumbs up, something to let us know that you've been enjoying the conversations and that, you know, it's been helping you. I am super excited. We have Hayes back with us this week. Simone is also going to be joining us a little bit later, but we're going to go ahead and get kicked off here in a second. If you are not following Kirby Fox, make sure you go ahead and do that. Kirby Fox is the presenter of the Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast. You know, Kirby Fox, I created this brand to empower women to reclaim their confidence through swimwear and live life unapologetically. So I just want you to be bold. I want you to be confident, and I want you to live life without limits. And that is what the Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast is about. It's about helping you step into who you are and and living your life without limits. Like, forget what society says about how you should dress, who you should love, all of that. Do what you want to do and what's going to make you happy. So let's go ahead and bring Hayes in. He's joining us this week. I have the Facebook Live pulled up here. I also have our Instagram Live. So I'm going to be answering some of y'all's questions this week from the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live. So Hayes, are you with us this week? Hey, Hayes. So I don't know if they can hear you, but I cannot hear you. Maybe I need to turn my sound on. Y'all know technology has been giving us the blues these last couple of episodes, but we're going to have a great show either way. So, you know what? I am going to adjust my camera just a little bit, y'all. Let me know if that's better. Hey, I see we have Victoria on Facebook Live. We have Takora. Yes, Takora, we got inches this week. If you follow us on Instagram, then you know I've been super excited about switching up my hair. We're getting ready to go into summer, and you know I thrive in the summer. Curvy Fox is all about summer style, summer swimwear, of course, and vacations and traveling and things of that nature. So, you know, I had to do something a little bit different for summertime. We're not going to let Rona keep us down. We're going to still be fun and energetic. I'm really excited about next month. If you don't know, next month is my birthday month. Yes, I am a Gemini, but you know what? I don't necessarily believe in all that. But for those of y'all wondering, yes, I am a Gemini. But I am ready because we have a lot of surprises for the Curvy Fox family next month. To celebrate my birthday because, you know, originally I was supposed to be in Jamaica for my birthday, but then Rona hit and we're not going to be doing that. So instead, I couldn't think of anything else better to do than to spend my birthday month with the Curvy Fox family. So if you haven't already signed up for our text list, go ahead and text Curvy Fox to 772 I'm gonna type it in the Facebook Live, or Ashley or someone's gonna type it for us in the Facebook Live. Curvy Fox, one word, to 77222, and we're gonna be sending out a text message on Monday. I promise you, you're gonna be want to be the first ones to know about these because space is limited. You know, we have to deal with technology and all these things, so we can't have a whole lot of people for my virtual birthday party, but it's going to be super fun. We got some amazing guests that's going to be joining my virtual birthday party. We're going to get grown and sexy, and we're going to do something real cute. And it's going to be a virtual girls night in, and you're not going to want to miss it. If you are a part of the virtual cruise, you already know I like to party. I like to have a great time, and I love to give away things. So I'm not going to announce what I'm going to give away, but you do know during the virtual cruise, we gave away about $5,000. So you never know. For my birthday month, I'm actually feeling really generous because I'm just so grateful to be stepping into this new year, this new chapter. So yeah, you're going to want to make sure that you're part of the text list. And the reason why is because our text message list is going to get a 5-day head start on the activities for my birthday month. And this isn't just a virtual activity. We're actually going to be shipping you some stuff. So go ahead and text Curvy Fox to 77222. And I see we have some new people joining us this week. So go ahead and check in for us. Let me know, where are you tuning in from? I see some familiar faces, but let me know, where are you tuning in from on the Facebook Live or YouTube Live tonight? Let's see. Hey, Dominique. Yes, Dominique. I'm switching it up for y'all. Yes, we have the number there. Text Curvy Fox to 77222. Let's see who we have on our YouTube Live tonight. Okay, y'all, go ahead and check in for us. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We're really excited to get this conversation going tonight. We are not going to let technology stop us. So I have a question for y'all. if last week we talked about friend zone, right? Like if somebody puts you in the friend zone, and what do you do if you've been put in the friend zone? Well, like what do you do if you friend zone somebody? Like you were interested in that person, y'all started talking, and then you realize, you know what, that person really wasn't what you expected, or what you were looking for. How do you friend zone them? Let me know in the comments what y'all do to friend zone somebody when you find out you're really not that interested in them. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Hayes is back. Let's see if we can get him on with us tonight. Hayes, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, good, good. I don't know what the heck was going on.
You know what? It's all good. If technology is anything like me, at this point, I'm tired. And I just, right.
I feel it.
So, how are you doing this week?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been an interesting week, but all these weeks are starting to blend together in quarantine. I'm just ready to go outside. Like I just need some outside. That's all.
I mean, we've been going outside because we have a lot of birthdays like back to back in my family. And so we've been going to the lake a lot, but I feel like that's not enough. Like I need to get on a plane or something. Like I'll be okay with even just going into the office to work. Like just something other than seeing in the inside of the house would be for more than a few hours a day would be good.
That's a fact.
Um So, Hayes, I just asked the audience to kind of chime in with us a little bit while we were waiting on you to join us. On you started talking to someone, right? Like you let them know you were interested in things like that, and then you realize they really not your cup of tea. You're not really feeling it anymore. How do you friend zone them?
Um, I mean, just tell them. Like I hate to like water it down to just make it seem like that easy because I know it's not that easy for people. But I'm a really direct communicator. Like if you haven't picked up
Uh-huh.
on that by now, so like when I feel something, I just say it. Like and not in like an untactful way or whatever. But I'll just be like, look, this ain't working. I enjoy you as a person, but all we can be is friends. Like I don't see anything other more than that. And most people respect that if you're just open with them. I think what people want more than anything is just not feel like people are playing games with them. So as long as you're honest, I haven't ran into any issues with just being upfront.
See, I feel like guys could do that, but I don't know. Like women, I feel like if we come off like too direct, and we're known to like we're being mean or we're being the B word or whatever the case may be. But I know it goes back to something we've said on a few episodes of, it's all about tone. But I think,
True.
is that something you text them, or is that something you have a face to face communication about? You call them, like, how would you do that?
I mean, I think it's whatever you're comfortable with, right? Because if for some reason you feel for your safety or just uncomfortable and you don't want to do it face to face, then you shouldn't be feel like you're forced to. If it's easier to have a phone call, I try to stay away from the text because that's kind of impersonal, but at least a phone call.
Right.
I mean, a text if you have to, like if you feel like somebody's just going to be combative and you don't want to waste your time going back and forth, then yeah, I can understand the text in that sense. But at least a phone call, like common decency. I always say, like as long as you don't ghost. I think like when people ask about
Yeah.
ghosting and when that's acceptable, I think that's only acceptable if you're in like a situation where it's like an abusive situation or whatnot. Otherwise, most of the times when people ghost, it just tells me that you suck at communication and you because you don't have the proper communication skills, you choose to do that instead. So I mean, as long as it's like a phone call, at least I think then that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. But then I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable having a phone conversation or face to face, like you're not trying to friend zone them, you're just trying to leave them alone, period.
That is true.
And at that point, I probably would just send a text and be like, you know what, this is not working for me, but I wish you all the best.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if it is somebody that you want to continue to be friends with, be cool with, then yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I need to talk to you about something, and make it all serious. But if we having a conversation, bring it up then, like, you know what, I've been really thinking about it. And, I don't think I see a romantic relationship here, but I would like for us to be friends and kind of
Facts.
like do it that way. But if I felt like, this person gonna go off on me or something, like, I don't even want to be friends with you. Like, that's a whole different type of conversation, the one that I don't even feel like putting the energy into having. But
Yeah.
yeah, y'all come in and let us know, because that's something. I know I seen a meme this week and I was just like, you know what? I don't know what I would do. Like, but I think I've had that conversation with a couple people and we've ended up being really good friends. Like Simone talked about one time, like, I've tried online dating and you know what, you get to talk to people and you know what, you're really
Hmm.
not my type. But then it also, for me, it always ends up, oh, I end up helping them with business or, something of that nature. And I'm just like, oh, sure, I can mentor you or whatever.
That's
But
funny.
um, like, but we end up being really good friends and can check up on each other. But I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, this was never gonna work. But you cute though. Like, this wasn't gonna work. But
That's funny.
hey, did you bring some questions for us or for me tonight?
I did, but that's supposed to be for later. So we saving that for later. I got some stuff for you though.
Is it for later?
It's for later. It's for later. Yeah,
Oh
wait.
my goodness.
Don't rush perfection. I got it though. It's best to end it on that.
Okay, well then here's the thing, because you talked about, I think like the second or third episode, like coaching me through the whole dating thing or whatever.
Mhm.
So what is the first thing you would say, like if somebody's like, you've done the work on yourself, you're like, okay, I'm ready to start dating,
Mhm.
like how would you begin to start putting yourself out there as you're available?
Um, I mean, what I, I that's one thing that I've never really understood is like, why do you have to do something to make sure, like, just be you, like in your normal interactions. Like, I for one would just, I mean, I don't know, just continue to be me. Like, if unless it's somebody that you see that you want to pursue, and then you try to like start those things like we talked about before, normal conversation and everything. But I don't think it's like this big declaration you have to make to people, like, hey, come get me. Like, I don't feel like you should have to do that. I feel like at the end of the day, like you conduct yourself as you choose. Like you go through your day-to-day life, you're nice, you're friendly or whatever. I mean, you can always like go out to places where you can mingle if you're trying to mingle, like purposely, like concerts, bars, spoken word things like I like to do. But I mean, outside of that, I don't think you have to really like make this like whole big post or sign that says, hey, I'm single now.
Okay, so I think a lot of women feel like they have to do something to
Hmm.
show that they're available. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of one right now, and maybe somebody in the audience can help me one, either on Facebook or YouTube can help me with one. But I do feel like sometimes we feel like we need to like put it out there, like I'm single, I'm open to dating, things of that nature. But you're saying you just go about your everyday life.
Yeah, I mean, this is my thinking behind it. Again, I can only speak from my perspective, but how many dudes try to holler at somebody even when they're not single, right? So why do you feel like you
Hmm.
have to do something more when you are?
See, I don't know. So I can only talk about my experience from this point.
Hmm.
And I think this would be a great question to ask Simone later too. But like me personally, I go out all the time, or used to go out all the time with like friends and stuff. And I've actually never had anybody hit on me in public, you know? And
Okay.
I know I'm a fun person. Like, I don't be sitting out there with like no mug on my face or nothing. Like, I'm having fun. I'm with my friends. And it could be that it'd be a whole lot of girls because I do have a lot of girlfriends. Or like, I go out with my cousins a lot, and there's a lot of us. So
Hmm.
that probably could be intimidating as well. I hardly ever go out when it's just like me and one other person, or me and maybe two other people. It's normally like me and maybe six or eight other people. So in that instance, would you suggest kind of like going by yourself to the bar and just kind of sitting at the bar by yourself for a little bit or something like that? What would you, if
Yeah, I
you go
mean
out with a group?
the thing is like, and this is kind of where I guess I agree with like some of the stuff you said before, is that somebody who is who sees you and is interested isn't going to be intimidated by you being with your girls or not. Like, I truly believe that. I don't think you have to purposely go out. Now you should, because as we talked about before, you should be able to spend some time kind of dating yourself, and then you can meet. That's how you meet people with like interests, right? You go out, you do things you enjoy, and maybe spark up a conversation. But I think some people just don't feel comfortable doing stuff by themselves. So I think for nothing else, not even for necessarily to put yourself out there, but just to be comfortable and like just doing you and not needing your friends, you should go out and do some stuff alone.
I agree. So for Valentine's Day this year, for the first time ever, I went out by myself. I actually went to like a singles like game night or something. I think that's what it was called, like a singles game night in Atlanta. At that point, I had only been in Atlanta like 30 days, so I was like, I definitely need to meet new people, and I want to be in the house on Valentine's Day. So I ended up going out to this event, and of course, it was way more women than it was men.
Of
And
course.
I don't understand that part, but it was way more women than it was men, and there were some decent looking guys there. Of course, I didn't just go up and just strike no conversations with people, but if somebody said something to me, I was nice and friendly and sparking up some conversations. And at that time, I actually Ubered to the event. A guy offered to drive me home, and I was a little hesitant to accept because I'm like, does that mean I have to go on a date with him if he offered to home? Like, I wasn't like fearful, like, oh, he's gonna kidnap me or nothing like that. But I'm like, that was the only thing is, am I obligated to go out with him now that he drove me home? Like, that goes back to what we were talking about on like expectations of if somebody flies you out or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but he was nice about it. He never like was like, so when you gonna let me take you to dinner or nothing like that. He was super, super nice about it. But I did do that, and I was proud of myself because a few years ago I would have never gone to, especially on Valentine's Day, I would have never went to an event by myself.
That's dope. That's good you did that though.
I know. So I'm ready for Rona to leave so that way I can see if the summertime is completely different because, the vibes are just a little more flingy and,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to have a good time. So I'm excited to kind of get out there and see like how I would handle myself in an event event alone during the summer. The winter is cold, so I feel like everybody was just trying to get home and it was
Yeah, yeah.
um, so I do have another meme that I saw on Instagram, and I'm gonna post it up here. And it's about, I don't know if you've seen those memes where two people are texting, and she goes, "Do you have someone for my friend?" And he says, "I want your friend, but I got someone for you though." Has that ever happened to you, Hayes?
No, never. Never.
What would you do in that situation?
If somebody
Like,
said
I
that to me or I
know.
was saying that to somebody.
If you were saying that to someone, like, how would you expect her to receive that?
I mean, it's all about, to me at least, the way that you deliver it. Like, I would be like, hey, I thought we were just cool. I was kind of, feeling your friend or whatnot. But again, that goes back to me like being a super direct communicator. So I would have no issue just being honest about it. But again, it's all intact. Like, I wouldn't just come out and be like, oh no, you tripping. But I would be very much like just honest about it. Like, hey, this isn't, obviously we had two different feelings on what was happening here. I want to clarify that, and then I probably wouldn't. At that point, you can't talk to the friend because then it's like, all right, you've just completely made it awkward for everyone.
So, can you hear me, Hayes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks like my screen is frozen.
Okay.
Um,
You got that Nelly syndrome from Versus.
okay. Um, Let me see something real quick. So, since you can still hear me, I'm gonna just go ahead and keep talking. Um, So in that instance, I feel like they actually started talking and maybe he lost interest in her. And then now he like, okay, I'm not really feeling you, but I am feeling your friend. And so that's something a little bit different in that
Yeah, that
situation.
Yeah, how you would maneuver in a situation like that is just not even worried about like at this point you just need to throw the whole thing away. Like even if you were feeling the friend, you just got to let it go. Like it's just not a good look to try to keep that going at this point. If you started off or you were interested in the original friend and it just didn't work out, and then you're like, oh no, but she got a friend I kind of like. Like no, you can't do that. That's just a bad look all the way around, in my opinion.
So, as a woman, would you be upset if I came back like going off? Because I feel like that's all borderline disrespectful.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the scenario that you gave, that absolutely would be a little bit disrespectful. Now you can, and that's what people don't aren't prepared for. Like they think that, oh, just because I was honest, that means that it shouldn't be no negative, and that's not always how things go. We're humans; it doesn't always go that way. You got to be prepared for the blowback because at that point, somebody's feelings are involved, and you can never try to tell somebody how they should feel. Like, yeah, they should be able to manage it. Probably better to be able to just talk to you, but you can't always expect that. People have knee jerk reactions, and especially if this person was really like into you, and then you hit them with something like that, you can't expect them to just rebound and just be like, oh yeah, we good, we can talk about this. Like, nah, if they come back going off on you, then that's the box you opened up, unfortunately.
I agree. I agree. Like, I don't know, but I can see that happening because I don't know. For me, I feel like guys just. I mean, there's a difference between being direct and being rude.
Exactly.
Like I'm all good for being direct and things like that. But I think even you said you got to be tactful with it and things like that. Like, and that is borderline being rude. And I don't handle rude really well. So I almost started going off in my head when I saw the meme. Like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one thing that I saw on social media, and I don't know, I was kind of like, who does that? But I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
women have been in situations like that, where they start talking to somebody and then they, kind of hang out as a group, and then all of a sudden he like, what, I'm really not feeling you. Can you put me down with your friend? Like, no, I'm not gonna put you down with my friend. Like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make you a hater if you like, nah, I'm not gonna put you down with my friend.
No, I mean at that point it's like you can't expect somebody that you've just broken their heart of their expectations, regardless if their expectations were something you guys agreed on or not. But you can't expect them to just be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go through with it." They have the right to tell you, "No, if that's what you want to do, you're gonna have to do that without me." Like you're gonna have to try to do your own thing, and then at that point, you gotta look at your friend like, what you doing here?" But yeah, no, I would never judge anybody like negatively for saying, "No, I ain't helping you."
Yeah. So, okay, you remember when we talked about that there were levels to dating, right? So let's
Mhm.
say that in this instance, they just in the talking phase. They, maybe had one or two group hangouts, but they haven't went like on an official date yet or anything like that. Does either way, whether it was a male or female, does that person now still have the opportunity to talk to the friend?
I mean, some people would say no, some people would say yes. Me personally, I feel like that's a bad look. Just me looking from the outside in. But some people in their friendships, they just don't trip off stuff like that. Like some people, like legit don't have any. Like there are people who marry somebody that the friend dated for like a year or so, and then there was some downtime, and then they dated them. So I mean, different strokes for different folks. It's just I wouldn't. No, that's not something that I don't. It'll be really awkward for me. Either if I was on either side of that, it's just too awkward.
Yeah, it would be awkward for me too. I'm definitely, I don't know, like my younger days probably wouldn't have cared, but like today, like I don't, no, ma'am, no, sir,
Mhm.
no, ma'am, you can't date him, sir, you can't date, like that's not, or y'all can date and we just not be friends anymore, like that's that's because I can't trust you at that point. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I
Like
mean,
I,
you got to think it's level, like you said, it's levels to it. Because if you guys are just like went out a couple of times or whatnot, and then it didn't work, and then they ended up like down the road dating your friend, like, are you really willing to throw your relationship over like your relationship with your friend away for somebody that you just kicked it with a couple of times? Like, I can understand it being awkward. I can understand maybe you needing to talk to your friend, like, hey, like, what's really going on here? But like, if like, I think we get our feelings wrapped up, like it's like a pride thing, so to say. Like, it's not even that you really like were head over heels in love with that person, but just because it's somebody that you had an interest in is like now it's completely off guard. I mean, off bounds for your friend, and it's like, I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, you guys went out on what, 3 dates? You didn't do anything much. Like, I mean, I can understand. I'm not saying you're wrong for how you feel, but I can also understand why some people will look at it like it's not that big of a deal.
So my thing is, if we only went out on a couple dates and I'm still interested in you, and you say, "Nah, I don't want to talk to you no more because I want to talk to your friend,"
Mhm.
then yeah, I'm gonna look at my friend sideways. Now we both decided this is not working, and like we just both, it's mutual. We not feeling each other. That's different. Like I wasn't feeling him or
But why
whatever.
is it so? So it's and that's why I said it's like a pride thing, because at that point you're saying it's only different because you also felt the same way that he felt. You also, like, that's a bit of a pride, and I'm not saying you're wrong for it. I'm not trying to judge you for it, but do you kind of see where that is? Like, that's a pride thing.
See, I don't know, because for me, like in any type of relationship, loyalty is key. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I have to be able to trust my circle. And if you feel like this about a guy I dated, like what other things could you be waiting on me to drop off so that you can pick back up, or whatever the case may be? But I've been in a lot of relationships or situations, friendships, whatever you want to call them, where it
Mhm.
has been like that. So I am a little bit more, I see things a little bit differently than probably other people when it comes to just things like that in general, because I've had people who only want to be near you so they can get what you have, or, things of that nature. So I am going to think, so I'm not probably not going to jump the gun like at the first conversation, but it's going to be multiple conversations had so I can feel it out and see like, where are we really going with this?
Yeah, I can understand that.
But I don't know. Y'all let me know. Would you end your friendship with, for, your friend trying to talk to a dude you dated? And I say dated like very loosely, because again, if it's something where, y'all went on maybe a couple dates, or y'all hadn't even got to the date. Now we hadn't even got to the date part yet, and we just talking. That's something totally different. I could care less. But if
Mhm.
we went on a couple dates and things like that, that's a little bit different. And I guess, like, as knowing my girlfriends and how we talk, like, you would know how I would have felt about how the dates and my thoughts about things ending or whatever. So I would just wonder, would you take that into consideration, like, before you moved forward with whatever?
Well, I would hope that, especially if they're your friend, that they have a conversation with you before. Like, they don't just pop up like, "Hey, guess who I'm dating now?" Like, that's fucked up. But if they, like, if your friend actually comes to you and be like, "Hey, I know you went out on 2 dates with Tony, and since you guys have decided to go opposite ways, me and him saw each other at a bar, and like, if they went and explained it, like, if it goes, if somebody comes to you and like, oh, I'm not feeling you, and I'm finna start dating your friend, and your friend's just like, oh yeah, we're dating now, like, that's completely dirty. Like, there's no way around it. But I guess I was thinking more so if it's like down the road, like a couple of months, and it just, they bring it up to you, and like, and your friend talks to you, then I can more so understand that.
I can understand that too. Like if it's a few months down the line, like you said, they done met it, they saw each other out and they was kicking it, and they realized, what, we do have a lot in common. Hey, I'm not one to hate on love. Y'all do what y'all do, whatever the case may be. But if we just stop talking on Tuesday and by Friday y'all already kicking it because he's slitting your DMs and you was like,
Yeah,
oh, you cute, I
yeah,
saw you with Tina. Like, no, that's something different. Like,
yeah. At that point, you may need to consider reevaluating that friendship.
because that's doing too much. Takora on Facebook said, "Younger me would, me now, no." Yeah, I don't know, but I hate that we have to be like that these days, because you almost have to think about people's intentions before you even try to really get to know them. And even if it's somebody you've been friends with for a long time, like you're not the same person you were at the beginning of the friendship. So you can't assume that they are the same person they are
Yeah.
or they were at the beginning of the friendship. So for me, I am always looking at the full picture, on not just what can I do, what can I bring to the table for you as a friend, but what are you bringing to the relationship and things like that. Is it something where, you're cheering for me as much as I'm cheering for you? Or are you just waiting on me to drop a secret so you can go run and see who can get to the idea first, or whatever the case may be? So I don't know. I kind of be side eyeing those times.
I understand that. I understand it.
Takora also said he may be better for her. It didn't work for us. It just needs some time in between. I agree. Y'all need to. I don't care if y'all was in the DMs for a month or two. Put it on ice. Don't pop up the next week and y'all dating. Put some time in between this. Allow me time to get busy again and get moving on to something else before
Yeah,
y'all just
yeah.
pop up. Hey, we decided we wanted to date. Nina on Facebook or YouTube, sorry, said that she thinks it's important to be direct but not mean. I agree.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Tact is
that's why
important.
I think you have to have conversations. You can't just send it in text or email or whatever, because I want you to know that there's no malice behind what I'm saying. I'm not trying to hurt you, nothing like that. Like, I just want to be clear, and I don't want to beat around the bush. I don't want you to have to assume what I'm trying to tell you. So I do want to be direct, but I also want you to know, like, from my tone and everything like that, I'm not trying to be mean or hurtful.
Yeah.
So I think having those type of conversations, like phone conversation, I'm not saying we have to meet up for me to tell you this, but having a phone conversation, I think, is preferred to me sending a text message or something.
For
Definitely
sure.
over ghosting. Like, I don't understand the whole ghosting thing
That's just
at
childish to me.
all.
Like I said, like it's honestly, it just comes off as like you just don't know how to. You're a sucky ass communicator if you have to ghost. Said unless it's like a situation where they were like beating your ass and you just like you had to get out of there. Like that's different. But like for you to just be able, the person ain't did nothing to you, and for you to just drop off the face of the earth, like A, that's cold hearted, and B, it's like you can just like you don't even have, like I think people worry about the response. Like you can just say what you have to say and be like, look, there's no point in continuing this conversation. I understand. But if we're gonna get into a back and forth, we're gonna get into attacking. You attempted it at that point. Like I don't get
Yeah,
it.
I agree. And I think if we do better job in receiving the information, no, I can't even say that, because I know situations where I would have received it perfectly fine if somebody would have just told me, hey, this is not working for me. I'm gonna keep it moving. And they never
Yeah,
even gave me the opportunity to decide, like, oh, okay, like, cool. I wasn't really feeling it either. Like,
yeah,
so and I feel the same way about guys who don't tell, like, their full story up front. Like, allow me the opportunity to decide how I want to move forward in this situation. Like, some women may be okay with dating a married man. So just, hey, come to the table. Hey, I'm married, and allow me to say, you know what, that doesn't work for me. I'm gonna, keep it moving at this time. But thank you for letting me know, versus, you said, well, you never asked me if I was married. Well, I was trying to get
and
to know you. You don't think that's something I needed to know? Like,
I almost got thrown out the guys club before by telling people that, like, why don't you like what I mean, I'm not to the level of what you did, but like at the end of the day, like, why take away somebody's power to choose, like to have the full information so they can choose? Most people, not the situation you gave is a bit extreme, but like most people in most situations, if you're just honest about it and give them some time to really process it, they can come back and be like, all right, well, this is how I can maneuver in this, or this is how I feel about this, and then you can kind of figure it out in most things. Now, if you're married, that's completely different. But I'm just saying, in most situations, like even if you say, "Hey, me and my ex still live together. We got 3 months left on our lease. This is what's going on." Some people could deal with that, but when you don't say anything, and then after you guys go on dates and they get their feelings involved, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, why can't you come over to my house? Oh, I've been, you know what? You didn't ask me, but now since you did, I got to tell you, like my ex still lives with me. Because then now they're thinking, because if you didn't bring it up, you have to be hiding something. Whereas if you're upfront with it at the beginning, you've eliminated doubts, at least in most people's mind, that you're trying to hide something, because you're like, look, this is what's going on. I wanted to just tell you. I didn't want you to have to worry. And then that helps some people in situations.
Yeah, I agree. I think more women will be a little less the angry woman per se if you just let, like, we don't want to be Inspector Gadget in every area of our life, you know. So we don't
Some
want
of
to have
y'all
to
do.
find
Some of y'all
out some of, yeah. But I'm saying that, and we don't want it in every area. Like, you know, now if it's our homegirl, like, girl, let me find out, see what I can find out on Facebook, you know, but we don't want to be Inspector Gadget for ourselves.
Yeah.
I think so. The last question I have for you is, what are deal breakers for you?
Besides ugly feet, um, I would just say like emotional intelligence, and I know I say that a lot, and people, like, I bring that up so much, people are just like, damn, you drilling home this emotional intelligence thing, and it's really important. Not even, you know, you can know your own emotions, you can know how you process stuff. That's a great first step. But I mean, when I say emotional intelligence, I mean knowing how to learn somebody else's, the way they navigate emotionally, because it's easy to learn yourself. That we should all do that. That's at a baseline. You should be able to know how to deal with the process and communicate your own emotions. The thing that's difficult for other people, I mean for most people, is knowing how to process that fact that somebody may deal with emotions differently than you, and know, and not make them feel wrong, not make them feel shame to say, well, this is how you should deal with it. You can't tell me how I should deal with it just because I grew up differently than you. I had different experiences than you. I had different traumas than you. So you can't tell somebody how they should process something emotionally, and you should know how to navigate that. I'm not saying you should automatically know how to help them deal with their emotions, but you should at least be able to understand that people do handle emotions differently than you. That's a big one if you don't know that. And then people just not knowing themselves. Like people don't take time, and I by that I mean like really deal with your triggers, right? Really deal with, like, because it's easy just to say, hey, I get pissed off by this. All right, you identified it. But okay, what are you doing to stop letting that trigger you? Because I can't do that for you. The one thing I can't save you from is your own mind. And so because of that, I have to know that you're doing that work on your own as well, and that you're prepared to deal with those things.
Oh,
Sorry, that
that's
was
a good
long-winded
one.
as hell.
No, that trigger thing, that's important. I'm gonna take a step back before I even start jumping into the trigger things. First of all, let's go ahead and bring our girl Simone in. Simone is here. So we'll add Simone to the conversation and kind of catch up on the question. I won't make you repeat your answer, but it was real good, and I have so many things I want to talk about on that answer. But hey, Simone, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys? I'm so sorry for my tardiness.
Oh no, you're fine. I didn't want to share your news. But if the crew was following, if the podcast crew was following you, then would already know your news from earlier this week and why that was super exciting for you.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm a Simone follower, so I already know the news and everything. I've been keeping
Uh-oh.
up with y'all on social media. So Simone, you want to catch them up real quick, and then I'll go back into Hayes's answer.
Yeah, sure. So, I got accepted into a program to be to train to be a doula, which is a birth coach.
Oh,
Um,
that's what's up.
it's super exciting. And my cousin is pregnant, and my mom is also a doula. So I was like watching her watch my cousin. So kind of like to learn certain things. So it's really exciting in both ways because now I have a new little cousin, and I'm on the road to be a birth coach, and I'm super excited about it.
That's so
That's what's up.
awesome. I think that's super dope. I don't see myself having another child, but I would have a child for somebody, and then y'all can take the child and y'all can live an amazing life. Like, but
Love
I
it.
thought
Well, your
that
hair
was
looks
super dope
cute, by the
and
way.
exciting.
I love your hair.
Thank you. We talked about, summertime, want to have different vibes, not letting Rona keep us down. For me, hair is everything about mood. It's starting to get into that summer mode. Even though I'm in the house, go ahead and prepare myself like I'm about to make the best of this summer in the house. So
I feel it.
I
I feel
asked Hayes what his deal breakers were, and of course he
it.
said ugly feet. You know.
Of
Then
course.
he said he talks about emotional intelligence and not only not understanding what your triggers are, but how you handle your triggers and things of that nature. And so I wanted to take a step back because I know you mentioned, Hayes, that that's a deal breaker for you, for somebody not to kind of be into emotional intelligence and know how to deal with other people's emotions and things like that. But I think that goes back to what we talked about of everybody may not have been taught that, and you don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to something different. So
Right.
how would you tell someone to start versus just saying, well, that's a real deal breaker for me? How would you tell them to start working on that so that way, they maybe it doesn't work out for y'all, but for the next person that they come into contact with, they know how to deal with that.
I would say I would give specific situations. So it'll be like, um, this is what I'd say. This is what you did in this situation, and rather than you hear or process what I told you, you took your interpretation of it and ran with it. And that's where most of that problem goes, and it starts with. It's not the necessarily that you automatically know what I mean or know what I feel. I don't expect that, but when I'm telling you something and you're not really hearing what I'm saying, you're instead going off your interpretation of what I said. That's the issue. So that we start with that, I'll be like, this is what I actually said, and this is what I meant. This is how you took it, and this is the process. You acted within your interpretation rather than ask me for clarity if you didn't have it. That's a big thing. I find that we just don't know how to say, listen, I don't understand. I don't know what, and that's why I said, like, what was it on episode 2 or 3? I was like, if I do something that you want me to do off the rip and you didn't tell me exactly, my nigga, I got lucky. And that's what I think we're afraid to say as people. We're just afraid to say, look, I don't know what you want me to do. So I did with the best that I could. Now, if it didn't work, it didn't work. And if it did work, like I said, my nigga, I got lucky. But we need to talk. We need to talk. I need to know what you need me to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. And I think one of the techniques that I learned was in an argument, instead of just going into your response, you say, you stop and you think, so what I think I heard you say is,
Exactly.
and then you repeat back to them what you heard. And then they can say, yes, that's what I said, or that, no, that's not what I meant, or, whatever the case may be. And then you begin to kind of follow that train of, okay, so now that you clarified that this is what, how I feel or whatever the case may be. But I think a lot of people don't know that, because I can be honest, I think that came from like a corporate training or something that a job did for us one time. So in my personal life, I've never had to, anybody teach me like, oh, when you get into an argument, this is how conflict resolution, that's it. Like what conflict resolution looks like in your personal life. Like, so I don't know if there was like a book that you read that was really good. Like, drop some tools for us. I'm gonna be honest, I want to go read it too, because I know I could do a better job. Because I know I'm quick to just be like, you know what, never mind. I'll just do it myself, or whatever the case may be. And I know that that's not always the best way to handle it, especially when you have people who really want to assist you or, love on you and things of that nature. So what tools or books have you read that you felt like were really good for that type of thing?
The 10 Types of Humans is one that I can't stress enough that will help you with something like that. What else? The 33 Strategies of War, which sounds like something it's not. It's a psychology book, and it teaches you like how to strategize. Like it looks at everything as if it's a war, not in a negative concept, but just how in war you don't just make a move. You kind of try to move 2 steps ahead. So those 2 books definitely I will point out. There's another one that I'm at a loss of what the name of it is. Oh, The Laws of Human Nature as well. That one's by Robert Greene. Those help a lot with emotional intelligence. It helps that the basis of that last one is everyone kind of wears a mask that they wear in public. It's the public face that they put. But it teaches you how to pay close enough attention to where you just start seeing the cracks in people's masks, and you can start seeing them for who they really are. So those, I can't stress that enough. Emotional intelligence, knowing how to process emotions, knowing how to deal within crazy situations. Those 3 books are tantamount if you want to learn stuff like that.
Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna ask you for a list again. I remember the 33 strategies of war, right? The 33 strategies.
Yeah.
But the other 2, I want to read them, and I want to see, like, because I'm always like, I feel like every day we should be learning something, you know? And like I say, I know I have especially lately with so many things going on, I am quick to be like, you know what? No, I'm not explaining this right. So we're just going to pin this one. I will do it. Let's move on to the next thing, So, Simone, what are some deal breakers for you?
First off, the one that comes straight to my mind is lack of sense of humor. I'm a very, like, I want to say, like, jovial person, I guess. Like, I really like to laugh and have fun and let loose with my partner. And if someone is, like, too pensive or too serious, then it doesn't work for me. Like, there could be a sense of attraction, but if I don't feel like I can be my authentic, like, goofy, fun self with that person, it does not work for me at all. Or if, like, the sense of humor or, like, the joy in the relationship fades, then I have to go. Like, there has to be a sense of, like, relief in the relationship where we can laugh. When you say deal breakers, do you mean like personality traits, or do you mean like actions that a person does?
It could be either one. Like, for me, I have a mix of deal breakers. So it could be it could be physical traits. It could be, a personality. It could be something that they did, and you're like, you know what? I've seen this before. I'm out.
I feel that. Okay. I guess another deal breaker would be a white person. Sorry, not sorry. Love a black man. And I feel like honestly, like a lot of white men hit on me. And I noticed, I've said this before, I feel like, I don't know if it was in this podcast, but in the plus size like community or like the influencer community, a lot of the black girls have white significant others. And it's just like, I don't want to go down that route. Because I love black men. So that's important for me. And I guess also similarly to what Hay said, I guess lack of emotional intelligence. I do my best to communicate as well as I possibly can, even in those hard times. So someone who's just like nonchalant and very vague and broad about how they're feeling, and especially how they're feeling towards me, definitely rubs me the wrong way. Like, I need someone who's very exact and can speak from a place of like purpose and not from a place of like questioning or being afraid of how I'm going to react.
I agree. I want to take a step back to the dating. You said in the influencer community, right? A lot of them have white partners. And of course, this is just our speculation, and please nobody be offended. Like, I'm just asking a simple question, but do you think that that's because of stability? Because at that point they feel like they've built a brand, or not that they think they built, but they built their brand. They have an entrepreneurial mindset, and so they would want someone financially stable or on a path to financial stability just as much as they are. And maybe that is lacking in the African American male counterparts.
I mean, I've never thought of that. It could be. I think it honestly has more to do with like how the fat black woman is treated. I think in black communities, it isn't always the most positive, and there's not a lot of like true romantic connection that's like harbored within, like towards fat black women in our community. And I think white men just seem to be more forward about their attraction to a fat black woman. So, a woman will see that and be like, hey, clearly this person, likes me and is into me, and they're showing me that attention that I deserve. Therefore, I'm going to go with that person. I mean, I guess it's an interesting point to say that it could be a possibility, but then again, it's like, is that saying that like black men can't or can't or are not stable, and that white men are more stable than black men. It's kind of like there's a little bit of like a stereotypical thing to that. You know.
So I would think, this is, I guess, in thinking of how they what led them there, because I would think all of us are like, oh, I want black love, because I grew up in a house, my parents are still together. My parents will be celebrating 32 years next month,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, of course, I want black love, they've built, what they have together, and they're continuing their lives and things of that nature. But I agree with you in the fact that when it comes to being a fat black woman, I find it very hard to, I've found it very hard for black men to be genuine in the fact that they are interested in my age range. Now, older black men will tell you all day they're
Yeah,
in love with you, you
absolutely.
know, they want to marry you, but he done been divorced 3 times. And, I'm like, you know what? I've never been married. I don't know if I want to be married to somebody who's been divorced 3 times,
Yeah, so
or who's
no.
older than my dad. So I think I'm going to put a pin to that. But when it comes to like my age range and things of that nature, I have found that either they only want to fetish size me if they're interested or anything like that, and they do have, some stability about themselves and things like that. Or if they are genuinely interested in me, they don't have nothing to bring to the table as far as, they don't have a stable job, or they switch jobs every 6 months or whatever the case may be. They may be living with this person today and this person tomorrow, and it's not being stereotypical, because I do genuinely want to find an African American male partner. But in the recent months, I have found myself to be a little bit more open to who I would date, just because I would want somebody who would be, I use the phrase equally yoked, all the time, is I want to be equally yoked with my partner. So I don't want to have to build a man up, you know, not that I think there's anything wrong with that. I just think where I am now at this age, like, look, you gotta be built.
Right.
Like, your foundation has to be at least laid.
Yeah. I mean, I can
Hayes, do you
understand.
have any thoughts? Or I'll let you finish, Simone, and then Hayes, if you have any thoughts.
No, it's fine. You go ahead, Hayes. I want to hear your point of view.
On what? I already said it. I ain't got nothing left. No, I mean, no. I hear what you're saying. I mean, when you say that you don't want to have to build someone. Not that whole build someone up thing is I hate that. I hate when people use that terminology, but I know how you meant it. But I think it's nothing wrong with saying that you want somebody to already be established, right? Because like we're I'm in my damn 30s. Nobody has time to still be establishing what should have been years ago. But no, I mean, I can understand that concept.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand it too. And I get your point, but I just don't want it to be a thing like based on race. I feel like maybe black people have a harder, not harder time, but I think we want so much for each other that sometimes we put a lot of pressure on each other to be a certain way. Um, and I think that just has a lot to do with the fact that we've been oppressed for hundreds of years, and especially with the bit of like the strained relationship between a lot of black men and black women. When it comes to certain things, I think we're less likely to tolerate certain attributes that we would or that we think we might with another ethnicity. I don't
Hmm.
know. So I don't want to limit it and be like black men are less stable than white men, or I can count, or I might have to build this man up, but I won't have to do it for a white man. I think it just honestly has to do with perspective and how they have had to navigate the world. A white
Yeah.
man doesn't have as much struggle because he doesn't experience oppression, versus a black man has the weight of, post-traumatic slave syndrome to have to work through in order to get to a certain place in his life. So I don't know, I'm not, and I understand the point of like that. I don't want to build someone up because that is kind of a bit of an interesting term. But I get what you're
Hmm.
saying. It's like you don't want to have to be someone's like counselor and mom and mentor. You know what I'm saying? You want to be their partner, like you said, equally yoked. So Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I also like I still don't want no white man. I know that. Like,
And you
have
know what? I feel you on that. And I get it. You know, like so when I say build him up, like if you come to the table and you're trying to learn, like for me, I had a call the other day with a Facebook specialist, and they were asking me all these questions about like, how did you learn all this? And I'm like, I read. You know, like if you're that type of person where you maybe can't afford to pay somebody to do something for you, or you can't afford to, you know, do this, but you're willing to get out there and learn it yourself and start building it yourself until you can get to the level where somebody can take over for you, or you know, you can get a job doing what you want to do or what you're learning and that skill set and things like that. That's totally different, because then at that point it's like we're working together to build a foundation. But if you're just like, oh, I don't know how to do that, and that's just how I am as a person, and then I'm like, well, no, maybe we can do this, and then it ends up me doing all of it. No, that's what we can't do. Like, we can't do that.
Well, yeah, the burden should never be all on one person, especially when it's not your growth. Like your it's not your growth. It's growth that somebody else has to go through. That complete burden shouldn't fall on you. Um, but I think like people are unintentionally emotionally selfish, and that's just because they haven't realized the weight of their emotions and how much pressure it puts on someone else, and it's all unintentional. It may not be that they're trying to be emotionally selfish, but at the same time, if you're not receptive to hearing that you're being that, then that's extremely toxic.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we all have to be aware of, you know, where we are. And that's why I always say, like, I don't just jump out the gate and be like, oh, you do housekeeping? Like, no, you know, no, it's going to be a few conversations. And I'm trying to see, like, you know, what are you building? What are you trying to, like, what's your end goal? How are you trying to get there? Like, what are you navigating through at this point in time? And kind of really fill out the situation or whatever. Dominique on Facebook said, knowing ways of intimacy and the lack of effort in life and relationship. Like that's basically what I'm saying. Like if you lack effort, like we're not gonna work. You know, because I believe you have to put some skin in the game. And whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, you can't just expect things to be handed to you. So if that's how you live life, we probably are gonna always bump heads, because I'm always gonna try to figure things out and see how can I, like I'm not just gonna take no for an answer. I'm gonna figure out, okay, this is no here, so how can I make this work with these resources and things like that. So you know, I don't know. But we're a little bit past an hour. So now that Simone's on the line, we're gonna jump into a few questions from Hayes before we wrap up for the week.
Yeah. So just to kind of bring it all home, right? I was thinking about what I wanted to ask and how to end this, and I think the thing that I like, at least where I want to start off, is um have you dealt with the inherent PTSD that we all as African Americans have? And do you know what I mean by the inherent PTSD?
So I know what
Okay.
you mean, but I don't want to assume like other people know what you mean. So can you just like quick summary for the audience?
So we have a
We
unique
have some
perspective. Yeah, so we have a unique experience in the Black community, I feel, where we have generational PTSD. It's because of our living situation. It's because of our women being raped. It's because of Black men being stereotyped and the pressures that we face every day. So there's an inherent type of PTSD, and that's just for lack of a better word, that we all deal with. And also because generations before us didn't deal with it, and they didn't have the emotional intelligence, they didn't have the communication, they didn't have they didn't know the importance of mental health like we do now. So that's what I mean when I say dealing with the inherent PTSD. What have you done to kind of break free from those trends that we've faced in our culture so much, and how has that helped you? Because people listening to this, if they don't get anything else out of it, I think that's a great thing for them to realize and hear people talk about.
I agree. Simone, you want to answer first, and I'll go after you.
No, I need a little more. I need a little bit more time to ruminate on the question and figure it out. So I can
Okay.
really think
So
about
for
it.
me, I would say one of those things is, as an African American woman, and this is, I don't know how this became a thing or whatever, but oftentimes growing up, they would always say, like, oh, you're too chubby, or, things of that nature. You need to back away from the table. No man's going to ever want you if you're a chubby girl, or things like that. And that's passed down through generations. Like, you have to be a slimmer woman to get a husband. And the goal is always to get a husband. It's never to, like, build things for yourself or to be healthy or anything like that. Everything I found is always built around you getting a husband and you letting that husband provide for you, and you just supposed to be his wife and domestic servant and all these other things. And so for me, it's finding that no, I have to be comfortable with myself, and I can't allow somebody else's expectation of what I should look like stop me from being happy and living my life. If I want to eat that extra cheeseburger at dinner, then that's my prerogative. Like, I shouldn't be thinking in the back of my head. Now, my grandmama told me, when I was 8 years old, you don't have
Mm-hmm.
seconds, because you don't get fat, or, things of that nature. A lady never has seconds. She gets full off of what's on her first plate. Another thing too is, this is one that I'm still working through, and it's really hard for me. But the natural hair thing, that you won't have the respect of a colleague or in corporate meetings and things like that. If you come in with your natural hair as an afro or things like that, you have to have your hair straight and or long, or all these different things in order to be respected in a corporate setting. So that's one of those things that, you know, I don't know about other generations, but I know in my family, that has passed down is you don't wear natural hair. You wear, you know, you got to make your hair straight so that you can be socially acceptable and things of that nature. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but that's what came to mind when I heard your question.
No, that answered it to me. I like that answer.
So for me, I think one thing that I'm working, I guess, through and trying to, I don't want to say debunk, but more so like fight against the stereotype of is like the loud, angry black woman. Um, anytime we voice our opinions, it is given a negative connotation. There's
Hmm.
this, there is a connotation for being ghetto and uncivilized. There's all these um, just these negative attributes that are attached to a black woman feeling. Hysterics or being irrational, and I feel like that's really unfair because black women, like, we have a lot of the progress that has happened in this country has been on our backs, but we're never allowed to emote about it and be able to process all the labor that we do for other people. So I am constantly doing my best to make sure that when my opinion is heard, it's not said apologetically. Um, I'm not doubling back on my opinion. Like, I say things very indicatively, and I make sure that I'm heard and understood. And I also make sure that what I say is concise, so that you understand that I am intelligently saying these things, and not because I'm angry and I'm mad and I'm ghetto and my neck is rolling. It's like it'll come with the neck roll. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is accurate and it's factual. So that's one thing. And then another thing, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to train to be a doula, is just the way that Black women are treated in the healthcare system, especially with childbirth. We're constantly second guessed. Our pain tolerance is overestimated, and we are often pushed aside. And a lot of difficulties and infertility and deaths have happened because people do not respect the Black woman's voice, and they don't really relate to her experience. So that's one way that I am working to advocate, I guess, and work through a part of PTSD, because a lot of Black women are scared to talk about things, or they're scared to go to the doctor because it is assumed that we are lying or we're doing too much for whatever reason. So hope that makes sense and I answered your question. Why?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
I
The
think that,
last one I got. I'm sorry. Go
can
ahead.
I piggyback on what something Simone said?
Hmm.
Um, uh, I just go back to like corporate America, like, because there's a lot of women who are watching right now who still, they work a 9 to 5 and things of that nature. And I know like last week, I was on a call because we're all doing things virtually right now. So we're not having face-to-face meetings. And I don't join like video meetings, because I'm at home. I don't want to be required to get dressed up during the day. So right now we're just doing conference calls and things of that nature. And I can think of in that meeting that we had last week, in which the guy, of course, is older Caucasian male, was trying to kind of belittle what I was bringing to the table. And I remember the lady that was on the phone with me ended up texting me after something I said and was like, "Are you okay?" Yes, I'm okay, but I'm going to be firm in what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, you know what I really was trying to say? No. So what I said was, because you're not going to twist my words and make it seem like, I'm not an effective communicator, or I don't know what I'm talking about or anything like no,
Hmm.
say if you repeat what I said, repeat what I said, so, and that annoyed me that she even felt the need to text me and say, like, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. But I'm also going to take up space because I put a lot of time and effort into building my career, and to be able to even be in the room for this conversation
Yeah.
or on the phone for this conversation. And you're not going to take that away from me because you don't like the fact that I'm sitting at the table. So I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody else who's out there who feels like you do have to kind of take a step back and be like, you know what, I really hate to say that. No, you don't have to put a or y'all know what I'm trying to say. But you
Yeah.
don't have to put like a disclaimer out there before you say what you're going to say or after what you say. I felt like I found myself do that a lot, and I've really been working on that. Like, not having to put a disclaimer out there before I get ready to say what I have to say.
Yeah, I hear that. And
Yeah.
also, like, just a little tidbit. When I went to like a predominantly white high school, and it was an arts high school, so everybody was pretty much like outspoken, and
Mhm.
like proud of their artistry. But there was this idea, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm dramatic and I'm loud and I make sure that I'm heard, and I was constantly called obnoxious for that. And
Oh, wow.
it was interesting because there were so many people like me, but it was me that was considered the obnoxious one. So that kind of stuck with me a little bit, like as I got a little older. But now at this age, I'm like, at this point, if I'm going to be obnoxious, that's perfectly fine, but you're going to hear what I have to say. And like you said, Christine, like, I'm going to be firm in exactly what I'm saying. There's not going to be a disclaimer. I'm not going to say I'm sorry after it. And in some situations, I will say, like, relating it to dating, with men, I used to be a little more lenient about certain things. Like, I'd be like, I want to, like, adding I'm just a little bit frustrated. I just don't know kind of how adding those like little like tentative words, those hesitant words, so to speak. Um, but at this point, it's like, why? Why am I questioning that? Why am I, you know, dulling myself down in order to make a better impact on somebody else, when how I feel is justified? I'm allowed to feel how I feel. I'm allowed to speak it. And if someone doesn't like it, that has less to do with my character and more to do with them.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, that's another PTSD thing that kind of passed down, because I think just as women, we do that. We can go toe to toe with a woman all day. Like, she gonna get what we have to say, and there's not gonna be any sugarcoating or anything like that. But when you have that conversation with a male counterpart, whether in business or relationship or whatever, it's kind of like, okay, I don't want to hurt his ego, and I don't want him to feel like, I'm trying to step all over him. So let me first say it in a really calm voice and say, you know what, I really just want, no, like, why
Right.
is it that we do that?
For
I don't know.
what?
I found myself do that too. And Hayes talked about triggers, and so I actually started a journal where I wrote down some of my triggers, and not just triggers and what causes me to like feel a certain type of way, but noticing when I do certain things. Like my dad would always get really upset because he say I would switch the way I talk depending on who I would talk to, and I never heard it, but I think the word now for it is code switching, but I mean, it wasn't something that I was taught or anything like that. And I, to this day, have never heard it myself, but I do always try to, make sure that I'm aware, like, and I mean, if I'm in this conversation, that I'm authentic to myself. And so even just writing down like situations like that where I notice like, oh, if I'm like at the end of the day thinking about I had this conversation with this guy, did I say what I needed to say, or did I allow him to dominate what I was saying? Like, did I try to dumb it down so that he felt comfortable in the conversation, or like even trying to write down some of those things so that way I can continue to work on it, and I'm not, I'm allowing myself to be authentic in every area of my life.
Mm.
And I know you have another question too, Hayes.
Yeah. The last one that I have is just a simple one. And maybe it won't be a simple answer, but it's just a simple question. This is all I have. What is peace to you?
Oh, wow. Okay. You want to go first on that one, Simone, or you want me to go?
You can go, because you know me, I need time to formulate a good answer.
Okay, so peace for me is just being stability. Like knowing that my bills are taken care of, my son is loved and taken care of, my family is doing well. I mentioned earlier, Simone, like we've had a lot of birthdays in my immediate family within the last few weeks. And so even if we just sit in the backyard watching a movie, for me, like that's peaceful. Being with my family, knowing that we're all well, we're all operating in purpose, that's peace for me. Like, not, I don't have drama, but you have to work through that part in life of getting to a point where there's no drama. But just that's peace for me, is just being with my family, knowing that everything is good and that we're all loved and we're operating in purpose.
I guess for me, peace is a state in which I can be as authentic as I can. And I say that because like you can find peace in a lot of places. But I think it starts from within, and being able to sit with yourself in your authenticity and actively live in it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's that's a very interesting word, because peace has so many connotations. Like you think about it, like you think about being calm, you think about, like you said, stability. Um, but I guess I think about like being at peace with myself, and what that means for me is like accepting my authenticity and my uniqueness and my individuality, and just accepting it. Yeah.
See, that's a journey that I'm currently on, because I'm the type of person, I think I may have said this in an episode or two, like I carry other people's things on my back, So like even in conversations with friends and stuff, if they're starting to tell me a problem and I know it's something I cannot carry at the moment, I'll have to be like, you know what? Like, I really want to know what's going on with you, but I can't have this conversation right now. Like, can we talk later, or, a different day or something like that? Because I know that's a trigger for me. Like, I'm going to begin to carry their problems and try to figure it out for them. And, I'm going to be researching and trying to figure out how can I find a solution for them. And if it's something that's in my budget, I'm going to buy it for them. Like that's just how I'm wired. And so I am getting to a point where I'm trying to just be at peace with myself. It's not dependent on my family. Like, even if my family wasn't all right can I be at peace with myself?
Mm, I feel that.
I think it's a good question. Hey, what's peace for you?
Yeah.
Peace for me is me sitting in my house or sitting anywhere. Like it could be, God knows, anywhere, but just watching my kids like enjoy each other, like hearing my kids laugh. It don't all that like if I ain't like if the bills ain't being made, that which isn't gonna happen. But I'm just saying if it was, all that
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even matter at that point. Like just seeing them smile, seeing them laugh, seeing them play practical jokes on each other, seeing my son chase the dog around with a Nerf gun, like that's peace for me. Because it's
Yeah.
in those moments where it's like all the other everything that I do, as hard as I work, the hours I put in, everything is so they can have that opportunity. So I feel like that's the culmination of everything I work toward. So getting to see that is just like, yeah, yeah, this is why I do it. And so that's peace for me.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I don't know, I worked hard. And so, like, that, like I said, going out to the lake and stuff these last few weeks and just having that hour of not thinking about did so and so do the orders or did they respond to an email or, you know, did they send out the schedules or whatever the case may be, and just like living in the moment on the water with my family, even though I have anxiety about being out on open bodies of water with non licensed drivers, you know, boat drivers. You know, still just being like, okay, if I died right now and I was with my family, like that would be like, you know, that would be lit or whatever. So I agree. Like, I don't know,
Mm.
family is really, really important for me. I'm gonna read some comments from Facebook before we log off.
I
So
just want to add
Dominique said,
something real quick. Let me add something real
okay,
quick. Because you guys kind of like talked about places or like a situation where you have peace. This is like rather broad, but it's really important to me. I love sunsets, um, like to an abnormal degree. I love them so much. Like they give me this sense of like just contentment and like inner happiness, and it just like stirs up my soul with like good emotion. And I can say that is a moment where I feel peace. um, I guess it just reminds me of like, you know, the world is much bigger than us, and God and or the universe creates all of these things that we have no control over. So it kind of like gives you like a moment to step back and realize like life is bigger than me, and like to humble myself and just to sit in that.
I agree. I agree. And look, next month I'm gonna be celebrating life, and I want to celebrate with all of y'all. So I talked about it before you guys joined. Like, we have all these different virtual events planned because I cannot go to Jamaica as I originally thought to bring in my birthday. But we are gonna have some fun on like the Kirby Fox platforms and things like that. I actually have some gifts that I'm gonna be shipping out um, to other people for my birthday. But all month next month, I just want to celebrate life. You know, making it 3 months through COVID-19 without contracting the virus. You know, to me, I think we all need to do it. I would do a shot for that, you know.
Oh,
And y'all know I
absolutely.
don't do shots. So I would take a shot to, you know, making it through 3 months of the coronavirus without contracting it. So I'm excited for that. I know we will kind of talk a little bit more about that next week. And then next week, I think we're gonna try to like wrap things up with the dating while plus size, but we'll have a few more conversations after that. But I'm gonna real quick read a comment from Facebook. Dominique said, "Yes, thank you for saying that. I am personally going through this at work. I am the first Black and youngest director my job has, and I have to battle for my word and actions to be seen. You hit that on the nail." I I understand. I feel like in our generation, like we people are just not okay one with us being young and sitting at the table, and then you add in the fact that you're Black and you're young and you're sitting at the table. Like, no, they don't take that too well, especially the ones that have been, you know, they're in their late 60s, early 70s, and they tried to get their, nephew or grandson or whatever to the table and you took his spot, I've been in situations like that where, it made it a really tough time to work with people because you took a spot that they had set aside for a family member or whatever. But so Simone, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on social media at Simone Mariposa on Twitter and Instagram. Also, after this, it's a bit of an after party. The late night chat room is going up on my Instagram Live at 9 Pacific Standard Time, midnight Eastern Standard Time. And tonight's like co-ed game night. So everybody can come on and have a drink ready if you come.
So I don't know how y'all can do this, but somebody needs to tap into my phone at 1:00 in the morning and just shut it off. Like I cannot be on here all night with y'all. So somebody has to tap my phone and just shut it off, at 1:00 Central Standard Time in the morning. Shut it off, y'all. Because for the last 2 Thursdays, I done found myself 2:30 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning on Simone's Live, just really kicking.
Yeah, last week I was on there till 4 and I had to be up in an hour and a half. I'm just like, why? And then I finally went to sleep and woke back up. They were still on. I'm like, okay, I see what y'all doing.
They were still on.
Yes.
I know.
I want the cover like that Simone and her friends have. Like they really be kicking it. So I don't know. I'm just gonna go move to California or something so I can kick it hard too.
Yeah, come through. Shoot, it's a party over here.
Hayes, where can they find you on social media?
You can follow me at CEO Hayes on Twitter, and I've been saying CEO Hayes on all social media platforms. I forgot I changed the other one. People have been like, I wasn't able to find you, and then on IG it's at the King Hayes. There you go.
Yes, the King Hayes, and that's HAIZE for y'all Hayes. So you said CEO Hayes on Twitter, the King Hayes on Instagram. Yep. Okay, got it. And you're not doing the after party or nothing tonight, are you?
I'll probably be there. I'm at this point. I think I'm on. No, I didn't mean it like I'm just because I can't. I said like on Tuesday I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna pop in this Tuesday. I'm gonna let it be. I'm just gonna watch, and I ended up being on. So I think at this point, like I'm a reoccurring guest, right? I got a standing invitation. Okay.
They be looking for you on the party, and they be like, "Where is Hayes?" Like, he was cool, but y'all need to bring Hayes on. So I don't know. If you haven't joined Simone's Live, you definitely should. It's a good time. And I love it because in times like this, especially if you don't have a lot of friends who are up when you're up, people like me who can't sleep because you slept a little later in the day than you needed to. You can create virtual friends and things like that. All of the people on her live are super cool. I've had a great time these last few Thursdays, so I'm excited for it. Again, y'all shut my phone off at 1:00 in the morning because I have a 8:00 meeting Eastern time. So I need to, and it is video. So y'all cut my phone off. I got to get dressed. So I appreciate y'all tuning in for the Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast. Make sure you follow Curvy Fox at Curvy Fox on all social media platforms. We will be announcing on Monday to the text message list my itinerary for my birthday. I'm telling y'all are not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a really fun party. And I'm giving y'all gifts for my birthday. So text Curvy Fox to 77222 to make sure that you are the first one to know about it. You're going to get a 5-day head start before we release it to our email list and our social media platforms. So you're not going to want to miss that. Thank y'all so much. And make sure y'all join us next Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube for the Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast. Bye, y'all.
I either feel you or I don't. force love. I ain't in no rush. I either feel you or I don't. I cannot and I won't try to force love. I ain't in no rush. You could be Mr. Right. At this point in my life, I will not sacrifice. If we don't vibe, it's not rocket science, it's chemistry. You gotta match my energy. I won't let loneliness, no, have me tolerate disrespect.